International Anti-Corruption Day. Remember that at the back of your mind in whatever you're planning to do. Put that be very considerate of that. But also, speaking of being considerate, today, 9th of December, it's actually the Independence Day of our brothers and sisters in Tanzania. And maybe that is why we could say heri ya siku ya, uhuru, meaning a happy independence to you, Tanzania. Well, I'm pretty sure it's quite a big day for them there. I don't know what plans they have, but as we have been coming closer, we have been watching what their president has been advocating for, and clearly I can't wait to see how they're going to be celebrating this day. Well, good morning here at the Friday Special. I do have, Uncle Bob here. I do have Mollen. I do have Felix. It's quite a very good mood here as you're getting closer to Christmas. But first things first, good morning, Uncle Bob.
Oh, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm lovely.
It's a Friday.
Yes, it is.
And of course, we are nearing Christmas every other day. But also there is some good news in the field of health that we now got trial vaccines for Ebola. So we hope Ugandans participate in this exercise, because when there are trial vaccines, one thing that is very clear is we shall need volunteers. Most of they need people who have been in contact with persons that have suffered from Ebola, so that they can be used for the trials. But also interestingly is one has never ceased in Parliament. The censure motion for Minister Namuganza, it seems this is far from happening. Okay. When you look at the procedures of censuring someone, I thought it was that easy. But well, it seems once you step in the August House, getting out, unless it's through court, either academic documents or bribery, it seems once you step foot there, man, you're there to serve your term till the end. Well, unless the good Lord calls.
There you go. Felix Nkunda, good morning. Happy Friday. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you, fellow?
I'm lovely.
Why are you laughing? Is it the feel and the thrill of Friday?
Yes, it
making
is.
You giggle and giggle like that. Anyway, it is a good Friday. Good morning to all our viewers, and definitely to you, my colleagues, Robert, the Bob himself, and Philo and Mollen. Well, Friday it is. Probably that's why Philo can't stop. She's been smiling. You're gonna have some.
I mean, it's Friday.
You're gonna have some chick X. I'm telling you, keep smiling like that.
It's Friday.
It takes to be happy.
Yes.
What would that be, Bob?
Oh, it takes money, it takes love.
It takes what?
It takes money. Without money, how are you going to be happy? My brother. Friday comes around the
You
corner.
want people to come running after me after I've left?
No, she has money that is meant for her and the people she's concerned with. Don't bring your poverty.
But I know someone else who has money and she looks like it. Mollen.
Oh.
Good morning, Mollen. How are you doing? You look like money this
Designer
morning.
of the day.
Well, I don't know about looking like money, but I was once told that sometimes you just need to look like you have it, even if you don't have it. So I'll take credit on that. Money or not, I must look good. That is a given. Well, a very good morning, and I want to say it's a good Friday. Well, when you come into Friday with such a good mood, like we always start off here on Good Morning Uganda, you're destined to have a good weekend. That's what I believe. But talking about this weekend, I think moving into the weekend, some music fans are not happy. Some, I must quote, because we do have one of the renowned artists who decided to retire from music. We're talking about Maurice Kidia. He took it to his social medias to say, look, I am retiring after 22 years, just on Thursday night. And a lot of fans are not happy with the decision. Some are like, okay, at least, we have someone retiring in this country. And I'm like, how about the music? A lot of people that really have been enjoying his music. I would count myself in that category. I know Felix is in that category. And now we are wondering.
Which category?
Yes,
I beg your pardon? Music. His music is sensational. It has been unique. And to know that, we're going to miss that, for me, it didn't really come out well. But we do wish him the best. We do wish him.
Oh.
But actually, with music,
yes, he actually has new music. He produced new music this year.
It's the most recent. I think it came about around August or something like that.
Yeah. So I think even the music he did before, it has that touch. with Maurice Kirabo, you just have to feel that uniqueness of his music.
Yeah.
And right now I'm wondering where we're going to get that. I don't see his
Yeah,
replacement.
one thing I know for life, nothing is irreplaceable. So we can just press
That's a very, very important.
let's just press next.
Oh, but
and-
we've had musicians.
Next, just like
perish.
that?
Can you have Christmas
What you want us
without a
to do?
Phil Bongo retire song?
Dude,
I think it's too
You see,
soon for
there are
us.
some people
Christmas.
whose music,
the reverse is true.
whose music has belonged even when they are gone. Their voices, their songs, their compositions live and never replaced. The likes of Eddie Wamala, who can shoot. People have gone through their music, but still evergreen remains. So there are those people.
I think
they're
that's
irreplaceable.
That's quite different, Bob. If you do take note of what she's saying, you know, Maurice Kirabo is talented. That's a matter of fact, honestly and truly. And if you've been away just from justice, if you know him personally, you know that he's so talented and quite gets a lot of with music. But the question is, do musicians retire? And I was listening to all these things. You see, it is quite a joke. I don't know, and I know musicians for doing lots of stunts. When you can't say you retire, yet what you're producing is still earning from it, or it's still out there playing. So there are some fields that never retire.
He's retiring from active producing of more music,
And
but he's not stopping his
the
music
next
that is
thing,
already
the next
in
thing you're going to
circulation.
see him singing on a wedding, singing on a function. That's why I'm told let's just press next.
No,
Sweet Kid have retired.
no.
That's the thing.
The likes of Sweet
What
Kid is
Maurice
played
Kirabo, actually, that's
many-
why
Sweet
among
Kid is
many,
still-
among the
Yes.
No?
I think what he's doing is
Juliana's
unique.
concert brought
Because you
people.
can talk about all the sweet kids. These are guys that just probably failed because they didn't come out
What?
officially to say,
Sister.
look, now they're being brought back as oldies. They are now performing in Chikade. I'm telling you, the people who come out officially to say, I am retiring from
Yeah.
music. I'm
That's
not
the
going to be doing new
Philo.
music, but the old music is there.
When-
now,
when-
me, I actually want to take this moment and this Friday to crush on some of Maurice Kirab's
This is
music.
not crush.
I do.
It's new way to
We are going to
Wednesday,
make
Wednesday,
it a
Tuesday.
Crash Friday.
We are going to make it
Because
Thank
of
you, Philo.
Maurice Kirabo.
Thank you, Philo. And I know Robert just mentioned his favorite song, Busawala, from him. I think mine is Never Been Loved Before. He really did me justice with that song. It sits in well. And that is Maurice Kirabo for me. I know him for his good music.
Now I
Felix
see.
might choose to press next, but not next.
Felix-
Now I see.
No.
Now I see.
Yes.
No, I think in this case it's different. I think we will let Mollen do all the clashing, like whatever.
Crashing.
You can crash or clash on him. The reality of the matter is that, and we all acknowledge he's a good musician. We have loved the song. He has done songs like Musubawa, you know. I mean, he's done some good music. He has done dance productions. He has been around.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
However, it's not a big deal. That's what I'm trying to say. Dude, bye. You want to live by.
That is Felix for you this morning.
There are
Like
other
I
musicians
always-
who are coming in. Come on.
The only solution to
Go to
Felix's
those
But those are
problem
unique
is a
touch.
cup of coffee, and we are going to get him
There are
that cup
people
of
losing
coffee.
sleep,
And make sure
Felix.
I will Bluetooth Maurice Kiriabo's music to him so that he can listen to it.
He's unique in music.
Anyway, it is Good Morning Uganda Friday special, but we cannot do it without giving you some of the stories that we have, what has been happening here in Uganda and also on the international scene.
Well, we'll begin with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who called for more mechanization of agriculture in Uganda. President Yoweri Museveni tasked Ugandan farmers to embrace good farming practices and mechanized agricultural practices in order to increase productivity. Museveni said government is leading in mechanization, driven by coming up with innovations and aimed at increasing agricultural production in the country. He said this while flagging off heavy earth-moving agricultural equipment at Namalere Agricultural Referral Mechanization Center.
Its efforts in domesticating technologies since innovation in technology have been proven to achieve a range of economic outcomes. While receiving the report on the National Trust Strategy of the Fourth Industrial Revolution from the National Task Force, the Prime Minister Robina Nabbanja said the Fourth Industrial Revolution presents a fundamental way of doing business, imploring stakeholders to embrace it in resolving Uganda's development challenges.
The industrial revolution.
And moving on, a high-level conclusive meeting on matters of abductions is set for next week, 12th of December this year, after a non-conclusive one that was held yesterday between the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, Prime Minister Robert Nabanja, Minister for Security, Minister for Information, together with Leader of Opposition, failed to come to a conclusion. According to the Leader of Opposition, yesterday's meeting was not conclusive because government said it lacked particulars of the said abducted people, yet he believes that as opposition, they have done more than enough to prevail all the necessary information, but these people are not being traced by government.
Well, elsewhere, starting off with basketball star Brittany Griner has been freed from a Russian prison and is on her way home to the United States after prisoners swap with convicted arms dealer Victor Bout, who was serving a 25-year jail term in the U.S. Now, news of the release spurred messages of relief from U.S. officials, supporters, and the loved ones who had been campaigning for her return for months. The exchange took place at Abu Dhabi Airport in the United Arab Emirates on Thursday, Russian news agencies reported. And U.S. President Joe Biden said Griner, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, was on her way home. The Russian Foreign Ministry confirmed the swap, saying in a statement that Bout had been flown home. Russian media showed Griner walking off a Russian plane in Abu Dhabi, where she was greeted by a U.S. official. Two Russians greeted Bout, once nicknamed the Merchant of Death, with a hug. And Chinese President Xi Jinping and Saudi King Salman have signed a series of strategic deals, including one involving Chinese tech giant Huawei, as part of a visit expected to bolster political and economic ties. Now, Xi's three-day visit to the kingdom includes Arab and Gulf summits and is being closely watched by the United States as Washington's relations with Riyadh are at a low point. On Thursday, Xi and King Salman signed a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement after he was escorted to Yamama Palace by the Saudi Royal Guard, who were on horseback and carried Chinese and Saudi flags. Now, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the de facto ruler of the world's biggest oil exporter, greeted Xi at the palace, which is the king's official residence and seat of the royal court. The Chinese leader heralded a new era in ties.
In another story, the coronavirus pandemic has interrupted efforts to control malaria, resulting in 63,000 additional deaths and 13 million more infections globally over 2 years, according to a report from the World Health Organization. Cases of the parasitic disease went up in 2020 and continued to climb in 2021, though at a slower pace, the United Nations Health Agency said in its World Malaria Report 2022, released on Thursday. About 95% of the world's malaria infections and deaths last year were in Africa, with 4 countries, Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Niger, and Tanzania, accounted for more than half of all malaria deaths. Although estimated deaths from malaria globally declined to 619,000 in 2021 from 625,000 in 2020, due in part to healthcare service stabilization after pandemic disruption, the number of deaths has remained higher than the estimated 568,000 in 2019, the report said. Now, following similar actions last month, climate activists in Germany briefly disrupted traffic at the Munich airport on Thursday to protest the impact of air travel as the ultimate climate killer. Members of the group, Let's the Generation and Last Generation, said some of its members had glued themselves to the tarmac there and the others had entered the grounds of Berlin airport. While a spokesperson for the Munich airport confirmed to the Associated Press that the northern runway had briefly been closed and the rerouting of planes had caused short delays,
A spokesperson for the Berlin airport said that also operations from the police was ongoing, but the air traffic had not been affected. Now, photos showed police officers attempting to remove some of the activists from the roads, and pictures posted to the activists' Twitter account later showed members holding signs blocking city streets.
Good morning, Uganda Friday special. We are with you for some good solid hours, so make sure you're with us. Get into our socials, be part of our discussions that we are yet to have just in a couple minutes. And of course, we'll be telling you what to do for this weekend, where to go, all of that, and probably what to watch. So you want to stay around with us. And for more sports updates, everything is queued up for you. You don't have to go anywhere. We'll return shortly after this break. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800 100-066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
Happiness comes to us in many places. It's in knowing the mosquito net keeps our children healthy. The wife having the support of her husband. It's in deciding together when to have a baby. And for some, focusing on what's important right now. So what's your happiness? Make the right health decisions to ensure happiness for you and your family.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Friday special. Welcome to this segment where we get to talk, discuss and have some good conversation, probably some banter in there somewhere. 9th of December 2022, and also World Cup resumes today. I know that the gentlemen are actually very happy and excited about this, and Mollen as well, because I am sure on Monday we'll be having a different conversation. Clearly some will be rubbing it in, others may not be taking it well. But at least one thing I know surely is that I saw quite a number of people banter on Twitter and talking about whether they should be supporting Morocco or not. They had mixed feelings about that. So, and when you say that, you clearly need to look at Felix Nkunda's facial expression. But well, I don't know, but we're yet to see, and these matches will be running here on UBC, so make sure that you catch up and see where are we headed, who is going to be finally into the semi-finals after this stage. But this morning, our discussion still is going to be revolving around parenting. Now, the different types of parenting, the different types of families. We have seen families where we do see quite an extended type of setting. We have a family where we do have a nuclear kind of setting. If my early primary education still serves me right, we've also seen families where we're looking at single parents, you know, a father raising his children, or maybe a mother raising her children, all of that. But this morning, the focus is going to be looking at single parenting. Now, like in any other setting, a child needs to grow up in quite a nurturing family setup, a family that makes this child happy and supports this child. But of course, as time goes by, we've had quite very different notions, different opinions when it comes to single parenting. Is this a mode of parenting that can actually be very functional for a child, or does it have an effect on them? Could be in the short term, could be in the long term. But anyway, is it a good, is it a bad thing? Plus, why is it on the rise as we speak in 2022? And this is just not cut out for only Uganda here, but even on the global scale, we have seen that single parenting is something that is actually growing. And I would love so very much to hear what Uncle Bob, Mollen and Felix here feel about single parenting. And maybe just I will take it from Felix. Well, when it comes to parenting, what is your general overview before we get into all the nitty-gritties when it comes to single parenting? How do you feel about this?
Wow, what a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's terrible. If it's a it's a terrible thing. I think every other child needs to grow in the comfort of both their parents. And mark you, when you talk about single parenting, the cause is not that one of the parents is dead actually.
Yeah.
You know, or is not, but they're just not available. And probably could be by choice or by circumstance, but it gets to that point where most of the times, actually by far when you talk about single parents, it's a perception. I have heard people say openly and proudly that they just want to, it sounds better in Luganda. They just njagala kuzala and
Tigwede.
yeah, the commitment thing about me staying with the dad or the mom and not, like, you know, it's crazy. But when you talk about single parenting, Philo, I think that's even a nice, you're trying to buttercoat the whole thing. Single parenting is this other one is about rebellious parenting. Like, people just choose not to want to raise children with their other partners. Sometimes it's circumstantial, as I said.
Yes.
One, like the question you asked at the beginning of this topic, Philo, is that why is it at the increase most recent? Why is it okay most recent? Because it seems like it's, I think one of, I like the fact that from in the beginning you brought the example of us being in school, more so primary school. They used to ask us the different types of families.
Yes.
We used to have nuclear, is it?
Yes.
And extended.
Extended.
And the nuclear was daddy, mama, children, isn't it? The extended was daddy, mommy, uncle, jaja, you know. I know. Now there's a new type of family.
Yes.
I don't know how we call it. What, single mother, father, family? I don't, but it's probably single parent family, and that's now the most common. As I've always said, and I'll say again, you people, you may hate on us, but these millennials have chosen to reinvent the wheel in terms of everything. They have chosen to start up a new type of family for whatever reasons they have. But one, I'll give you just 3 or 4 things for me that come on unclear about this whole thing of single parenting. It's a reflection of the gross irresponsibilities that this generation has accumulated. I can't say has been passed on to. Gross irresponsibility. 2, gross deception in relationships. And all these things, I can give you examples even if you want. The third one, poor parenting. But also, you know, peer pressure. People don't seem to want to talk about this thing called peer pressure, but when you see Mollen having a child, she drives a very small car in town, and she tries to portray that life is okay. Take a stand by the baby and get together to beach, mall. You know where you people hang out, the millennials. You have your funny places.
Take pics and post.
Yeah, they are all over social media, Instagram, what I don't know what else, Snapchat, those funny things. Yeah, baby, you know, that alone makes other girls feel like it's fashionable for a woman not to have a man in their life. The number of single fathers is quite smaller than the number of single mothers. If I don't know you, I stand to be corrected, but from the face of it, out of 10 single parents, you find 2 men and then you find 8 women. Why is it that way? Why is it that way? I think that's a question we need to answer hardly. Why are our little sisters struggling with their children, yet men are out there? Let me tell you this lastly, as probably also others will give their contribution. When you decide to give birth to a child, it ceases to be just about you. And I've said this to many other youths and colleagues of mine. It's never about you anymore. It's never about what you want to do, how you want to do, where you want to do it. It's now about, okay, you may not want to, you may not, sometimes we have children out of circumstances. You may not want the lady so much or what, but it ceases now to be about what you want, because you have already decided to bring someone in the world. Like some of us who are parents, you notice that it was okay for us previously to go back home at 10 at 11 p.m. And because you're only accountable to your feelings, to your desires. But today, you can't do that like on a day. You can't do that every day, because someone will be asking, but daddy, but daddy, but daddy, but daddy, but daddy. You may not even go home for the woman, but because of your kids. But last time we had a topic about parenting, I don't know, about a week or 2 weeks ago. And the big question as we deal with this topic, Philo, is, do we have children after having them as a choice, or do we have them as an incident, what Bob will call as a chance? And that's where it all starts. If I meet Mollen here, it's the first thing we do. What do we talk about? What are we talking about in our relationships? You meet Mollen, Okay, I don't know how. You meet Mollen, the first things you talk about, and then you're thinking, okay, you like Mollen probably because of her complex, color complex. And how does that even make a relationship? Like, we're having the wrong discussions prior to having kids. You're talking about what? Mollen, what is Mollen asking? There's a channel I watch sometimes. It has a program about people dating, I hear families and what. But if you hear the questions these girls are asking the men, one, aine motoka? Yasoma kwenkana chi? And the other question is, aina sente? And the weirdest question is, njagala omusajja ow'ekirevu, njagala omusajja kati ab'ekirevu twasamusa. You know? Nze njagala omusajja ng'ayina enviiri kati papa tazirina tozo. You understand? And a girl is bold enough to say, njagala omusajja amanyi oluzungu. And I'm thinking, what is the contribution of luzungu to a good relationship, to a family, to give, like, and by the way, the women, honestly, Philo and Mollen here, be honest and tell us the truth. Personally, I've done politics at university level. There's one time, one of the students came and told me, Nego mind what is in Akonda? Chirevu. Like, how do you vote? Cast a vote that is going to affect your well-being. And I'm like,
do you think people
now
invest in making good posters?
That is it. And now I'm starting to realize that when I listen to all these girls put their, what we call the lists, the list, you know, you would be man. Tekuliko wadde n'ekintu ekikonaku responsibility. A lady will list 10 things and there will not be a highlight of anything talking about responsibility. Chirevu, Iso, Mutwe, Nkona.
This morning's discussion, increasing cases of single parenthood. Mollen, I know that you would love to counter that.
To counter?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes. Mollen, what do you have to say about this?
You need to be clear, Philo, about what exactly?
Yeah.
Very good point. He did make very good points. However, there is also something we have to acknowledge. I don't think anyone in this world wakes up one day and they're like, I just want to be a single parent. Oh. Let no one deceive you that that's what they want. It just happens, and then all of a sudden they are comfortable with it. Okay, maybe someone might say a sentence like, I wouldn't mind being a single parent. That doesn't mean that ultimately that is exactly what they want.
When they say them, Mollen, believe it, because that's what they want.
That is not what they want, Felix.
Said it.
You are making it seem like that is what they want. But let me tell you something. I do believe that by the time you get into a relationship, someone dates you, you want to be with them, you start talking about the future at a certain point, whether it's the first thing you talk about or later. But in your mind, you know that there is a possibility of a future. And that is one thing that everyone looks out for. But you also know for sure.
Shiba Karunji, on several interviews, she has said, all I want is
I don't want to bring out names right now. I just want to explain to you.
Comes out and says that.
Yeah, I just want to explain to you the background of all that, and you'll have your time to make submission. But what I'm saying is, we have a responsibility individually as a person to make sure that you define what you want. Now, if you want to be a single parent, why is it that you're not stating it out in that relationship before you even go to the extent of having a kid? Tell this person, you know what, I don't want to be married. Should we, you know, by the time I'm with you, should we have a baby? I don't want to be with you. Why don't we have those conversations prior? So I think that is where we should be finding out really what these conversations are all about. And by the way, I think some of these situations we bring on ourselves because you're dating a certain guy that you know for sure has told you several times they're not interested in family, they're not looking to make any commitment, and you're still with them. Why are you still with them? Well, it's either way, by the way. Even for a guy, you're dating a lady who is saying, no, I'm not ready. And all of a sudden you're going in, you're moving in with her, and all of a sudden, but you see, that is where we're making mistakes. Now, this is also not to put down a whole idea of people ignoring responsibilities, like Felix did talk about it. We have single parenthood in this country beyond.
because of people ignoring their responsibilities. And it's a good thing you even said out of 10 you would find that more of the numbers is to the women. That doesn't mean that they want that on themselves, but because men have had a privilege of running away from parenthood, he knows a mother would not leave the child. Now once a relationship ends, women have the moral ground of saying no. Whether the relationship has ended or not, I must be with my baby. And that is just a nurturing character in a woman.
Yes.
As a mother, you don't just leave a child because you've broken up with a man and then you make a decision to say, look, since I'm not with this man anymore, I don't want anything to do with the child. Let me just take the child to the man. This is not what we do. As a nurturing woman, as a mother, you stick to raising your child, and that is a responsible thing to do. And I will hail on those women for doing that, because while the men run away from that responsibility and say, okay, you know what? Well, we had a child together, but still, I don't want to be with you, or I want to start another family. That's okay. You make a decision, but guess what? Shame is on you, because the moment you leave this child, she's going to take on the responsibility. And I think we also have to bring in the issue of family here. Where does that put a child then? Single parenting, where does that leave a child? Because we have children that are growing up without fathers, that are growing up without mothers. And by the way, this also takes in a few men, and I want to be clear on that, a few men who take on the responsibility of raising their own kids when their mothers leave. There are women who were like, oh no, this is not for me. I will not have this on myself. And the men have taken that mantle. That is just a few, a small percentage, I would say 1%. I would say 1%. They have taken on that role. However, we are ignoring the fact that we take out the other factor. We take out one parent from the equation. And I know a lot of black people don't believe in this shared custody or shared parenting, where you have a child for a few days as a mother and the father has a child for a few days. Most of us, when you separate, that's it. The child is just, maybe once in a while on their birthday, that's when the mother or the father, the person in question who left probably the parenting, shows up once in a while. It can be once in a year on a birthday. And this is where we are seeing kids that are being raised without any manners, without any character of society, because they have lacked that other part of parenting that they should have gotten from either the father or the mother. And we cannot hold them responsible, because now Felix might sit here and talk about this whole millennials. It's not the millennials issue. I think it's an issue that some of us have had to inherit from these unstable families from before. Let me tell you, sometimes it takes having an example to be a good person. Now, you're growing up from a family that is, out of, denatured or destabilized family, I want to call it that. It might not be by choice, but by virtue of you being raised by, a single parent, those that her character, his character, you've not gotten the privilege of learning what that means if you had another parent in the picture. And we're inheriting some of these things, and, you end up also thinking that is okay. It is not okay. I'll tell you one thing from way back. Our parents believed in staying in marriages for the children. And you find they are unhappy. These people are literally wanting to kill each other, but they are staying in a marriage for the children. Now, the whole question is it worth it? Are you staying in this marriage for the children?
Mollen, I was just thinking about, because that was going to be like one of the, questions I was going to ask, because are there situations that make single parenting justifiable? When do you actually throw in the towel and decide to look after your children? Is that, does the reason hold water for you to do that? Or maybe it shouldn't be an option on the table.
But it's circumstantial, because like I said in the beginning, I don't think, in my understanding, and it can be my own opinion, I don't think there's someone who chooses to be a single parent. Some things happen and there is nothing you can do about it. You are already, in this, you have a child and, the father is not in the picture. What do? You cannot just abandon your role as a parent and say, you know what? I can't be alone and you know, let me leave this child alone. Some of these things just happen, and it takes a bigger person in the relationship now to take that responsibility. And that's why I'm saying 100% kudos to these people who choose to raise kids regardless of the circumstances. I don't think there are issues that come up to say, okay, I'm choosing to be a single parent.
Yes.
I think some of the things are circumstantial.
Now,
have to acknowledge that.
Yes, as you know, when Felix was talking about some of the reasons as to why we are seeing an increase, Uncle Bob over here kept agreeing and all that. But I want to ask you one question, Uncle Bob. Do you think that this single parenting system, because I mean today's family setups have really changed and this has become so dominant, but can we say that we apportion blame to the men, to the women, or it's actually not exactly like that? Do we look at it from that lens, that maybe the men are the main reason or the women are the main reason, or some of the reasons really we can't even rule them out, we can't apportion or attach them to the gender, really from the gender spectrum?
Well, first when we talk about single parenting, I must say there are people who choose to be single parents.
By choice.
Really, by choice. I know young men in the corporate world who say, I don't want to go back home for a woman to quarrel. I don't want to be asked, where are you, as if I'm a young kid or I'm lost. I want to live my life. But if I'm to go to a bar and return maybe in the morning, it is fine. If I can have a nanny home, take over the children, that is okay. I make my money to enjoy my money. I don't need a woman in my life to be a problem. I've had young girls who say we are independent women. We are empowered women. What man can do, woman can do. I have my money. I don't want to be tormented. Where are you? I don't want to go back home, cook, organize this. I want to have a maid. I want to be myself. And these single mothers you're talking about, they're in every hangout spot. They're in where? Disorganizing other people's families. Tactfully robbing. I have no... You see? These single fathers you're talking about.
Some of your submission, you guys know.
Are everywhere. Every Friday, every hangout. Disorganizing other families. So, there are those that choose to be single parents. However, that said, I also agree very well that there are those that circumstances force them into being single fathers. You met a Mollen, very beautiful, light skin. You're like, this is my dream woman, we can start a family. Only to take her home.
Why does it necessarily lie on that side?
No, I mean,
why do you actually feel
I'm getting to both sides. Only to reach home and you're like, people can pretend. Look what I brought home. It's a snake in a basket, not fish. You find a Felix, tall, compound eyes, hot head. You're like, drives a good car. If he has a beard, if I miss this man, only to reach there.
No wonder you did good example yourself.
And you brought a problem to yourself. Very responsible. He doesn't cease partying. He doesn't know he began a family life. And you're like, man, he's almost absent. I'd rather be without him.
Yes.
So I've given both scenarios. But that said,
scenarios of Mollen and
that said, we also must accept that women empowerment, many of our mothers, many of us would have been products of single parenting. But because by then, these women had no alternatives. You get it? They would marry her off very young. She comes, even to her next stand, you've gone. If she chooses to step out of this marriage, she had no fallback position. She had no fallback position. So many of them were in the marriages because they knew if they left, that would mean now you go back to, because previously there were no laws that you're going to take half of property, so do you what? You would go home, sit and suffer and become a public shame. So today women are empowered. You joke with a Philomena, sometimes even earns more than you, the husband. Your role is to be a good man in the house and what. So Philo just says, look, I can afford rent, I can afford fees, because most of the times I'm even the one who pays the fees. So why not move out of this relationship for my peace? But also you go back to the element of culture and religion. It was a shame. It was a shame for you to be a single parent. Even they had names they would say, describing that this is a shame. It was a taboo. How dare you say I'm a single parent? For example, in Uganda where I've grown, and you cherish, you cherish that? Go to religion. It was unthinkable. It is ungodly, because the Bible is clear. Therefore the man shall leave his father, they unite together, they become one. So when we lose religion, when we lose our cultural norms and values, and the women are empowered, and this modernity, most of these things are coming from the Western world. You know, we have very powerful people, these groupings. Felix talked about peer pressure. When they meet speakers, a mighty lady, she has been able to raise children on her own. She's having, like, okay, oh, Bugalo, single mother, then single. Actually, I know someone who was heading the Single Mother Association of Uganda. It is a registered non-government organization. They meet, they celebrate, they cherish each other, but also they help each other have support how to look after these children. So most why these are on an increase is we've lost our cultural values. Today we spend so much preparing the woman that is going to get married. We've invested sometimes so much in the girl child. We invest in the boy child. But also, finally, one time a friend of mine called Felix Nkunda, one time told me this, that Robert, you must know, when you marry a woman, you're marrying the mother. When you're getting married to this son, you're marrying the father. So he told me, be very careful.
That was meant to be.
When did that happen?
A friend of mine.
That was
Felix Nkunda.
That was.
Wow, conversation was happening.
And actually, I've come to prove that this elder person was very right. Either through experience, I don't know. This elder person was very right, because if you find a daughter of a single mother, she has seen it work. It is very, very easy for her to say, I'll step out of this marriage. My mother raised us 8 of us. We were educated. We are learned. She built her own house. So be careful.
But you know, Robert, I've also seen incidents where you get married to a man. This man was raised by a single mother. Okay? And this man will actually tell his wife, you know, if things are not doing right, like, well, we can as well step out of this and you look after your children. After all, I was raised by a single mother.
Yes.
So
yes, it's a two-way.
So really, yeah, and I don't want us to lean so much.
And that's why you find that a man who has grown up in a polygamous family, it's very easy for them, despite having seen the problems and challenges there.
You know, Philo, let me just add something, if you may allow me.
Yes, please.
About this whole thing of parenting and what. You know, the reason why on the spot we see this, even this discussion in particular, you see there's a highlight of women time and again, the women. Our society has made us believe that there's a bigger role to a woman in keeping a family together than a man. I don't know if you guys, you know, we have been taught that a woman should take in more. That's why it's hard to feel a man say, me, I stayed in this marriage because of you children. It's always the women who say this. So that means that the oppressing side majorly is always the man. And that's why Robert brings in the aspect of preparation. When you prepare, as you're preparing this beautiful daughter, Philomena, who's preparing Kirabo? I'm telling you, I've always used this example on children, and it works on men and all of us. We cannot be different from what we see, what we hear. we are a replication of the things we have seen consistently. I am going to be the kind of man I have seen around my society or my home. I was raised in a family where providing for a home was so paramount. From my father, I saw it from my grandfather, the two people who I spent time with as I was growing up. You cannot, how do you come home without
bread?
How? Kavera. I never saw any of them come home without a kavera. Whether there was one chindazi, or the day was so bad, you can't go back home a man empty-handed. That's the thing, because people run to you what is to kulisa in English, to like to welcome you. Yeah, like if you want welcoming you with what? Sinavigambo. Now, in my own mind, from the time I have chosen to live with somebody, I made that a point. Even the place where I get the things, they know. When they see you, they know what to put in the kavera. When you don't pass by there, they will, the next day, hey, but this is what is happening recently. Our friends are telling us the wrong things. Our parents want to use us, okay, me I'm not about to, but they want to use their children as a revenge. Can you imagine their mothers who tell, and this is mostly in women, are
they lying?
But
because they are stating the facts.
Could your mother say that to you?
You want mothers to lie. You want them to lie to kids and say, yes, your father is in the picture. Listen. Just hold on, Felix. You want them to come and tell these kids that your father is in the picture when the father is not in the picture. That is you lying.
Because
you're teaching them to lie.
Is that before, parents actually tried as much to protect their children, but at their own expense.
But Philo, listen to this. When you tell a child, why don't you tell them the reason he left?
No, Felix.
Felix, not to interject.
I think you guys are taking this conversation to a level that we should address.
Well, looking at the right
you guys are doing.
We do have some comments coming in. Yes, we do have some comments coming in here from a couple people, and I do have Sylvia here saying. These days, a single parenthood is such a tricky scenario. Very, very true. Some women or men actually do choose to not marry, and they're determined never to get married. Well, I also do have something coming in from another beautiful viewer here who is saying that there are quite very many stresses that are also faced by single parent families, and actually we'll be getting into those just in a couple of minutes. Talking about visitation and custody problems, the effects of continuing conflict between the parents, to mention about a few. And also we do have something that is coming in from another gentleman here, that is Stephen, who is saying that well, single parenthood is a topic that we are yet to have, and it is still bound to happen if both men and women continue with the same attitude that they currently have. Yeah, but Robert, you were saying something.
Yes, I was reacting to what Felix said. When I talk about we've lost morals, previously there would be things that were happening, but parents would find ways of doing them. Recently I saw a lady, baba no tamo yokusatu baise mbwagoli ruda bado tebalisoma. Like these are young kids. You know what to tell them, when to speak out.
Can we agree that there are actually very many irresponsible men out there? Seriously.
You see that violence.
There are very many irresponsible men out there.
When kids were beating their father because he was alleged to have cheated on the mother.
Yes.
Kakati, what would a man stay with that family? Give me two reasons. You incite your children to beat their father, and you know what, the mother will never say those things. But
also, can we agree that probably there are actually reasons as to why they are the way they are? Maybe there is a reason, maybe there is a root cause, because what I'm sensing from here is that maybe women are known for indoctrinating children, but can we also agree that there are probably reasons as to why?
What they are known for that.
Yeah, that is what
That's
you're
their
saying.
choice.
But have you actually made a point to see why some women are saying that? Yes, it could be true. The women probably who are bitter, but do you know that there are also men who are actually forcing the women to be bitter? Have you looked deep into that? You know, sometimes women may not actually speak outrightly about that.
There will be a lot of injustice to
there
allow.
are very many injustices, absolutely.
Even allowing the two men here on the set
That's
to keep
true.
taking us to that one direction.
Because at the end of the day,
they are taking the direction of these men who have actually chosen to ignore their families in the name of she is the single mother here. But you also a single father, but out there. It doesn't take away the fact that you also are a father of this, you're a parent to this child that you're leaving behind, and letting this girl or this woman take a responsibility or a whole time of being a single parent, yet you're part of the picture. And you want these women to sit at home and nurture kids and show them that everything is okay, this man is okay, your father is fine, and he's you know, in the name of you're protecting the guy, the same guy who has failed to take the responsibility. So I think we are not giving credit to these women.
Why this
allow me say this.
Why this guy has failed?
No, Robert. No, Robert.
Our children.
I think you're all ignoring one issue. You're all ignoring one issue, and it's okay because you're men. It's okay for you to think that is the truth.
No,
you're ignoring an issue, Robert. For you to sit here and say, fight these women who are out there in bars disorganizing families. You're also forgetting that you're the same men.
You're the same men who are going out
there.
Actually, yes, you're
and
contributing
deceiving
to the problem.
them. You're deceiving them, and I want to say this with a
Mollen,
lot of.
If you became a single mother, you would be deceived.
Robert, because if you were a responsible man,
allow me to make this point.
Yes,
because I think Kirabo is making it seem like they are irresponsible.
Yes.
Do you know what it takes for? Because you have women at home, they have their your kids. And you know, I like the point that Felix brought out, because he did say every time he's at this supermarket, they say, you've not taken this. He's the one taking stuff to the home. But now you have a woman who is doing the two-job thing. She's doing the part that the father should be doing, and her part too. We are not giving them enough credit. And for you to even demoralize them and say they are out there doing this, that is not true.
Demoralize?
That's what Kirabo says.
Do you know that there are men
who are out there disorganizing families, forgetting that he is the one, he is the one going out there, outside of the family, to bring on such kind of
men with
character.
multiple children.
I think we should also acknowledge
responsible.
No, they actually
there's even what we call co-parenting. You know, I may not be with you.
You know,
but, so you're living
but you live,
to the parenting.
You create an atmosphere where I can be of help.
But
when you're turning me into,
you're the ones making them single mothers.
Let me tell you, you've given her time. Please give me the equal time to explain my point.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying.
That time, actually.
This is what I'm saying. We can't castigate a single sex or gender for problems of single parenting.
But you actually previously
however,
that. You were that a couple of minutes
however, you who is going to carry this child, you who is going to carry this child, you the mother, the father is equally responsible, but you the mother, you must think twice on choices you're making.
Some of
these women today are so reckless when opening their legs.
Now you're embarrassing yourself, Robert, and it's a shame that you're even bringing out such words.
And they forget that at the end of the day, if you make a wrong choice, the burden may go up to you.
So are you actually saying men, it is okay for men to be responsible?
I'm also getting to our brothers and sisters. Men, you must know which kind of woman is going to mother your children.
Oh my God.
Don't rush for beauty. You're going to bring a lioness in a home, and you just can't be because you rushed for physical appearance, for these other things. So for me, I've looked properly with women empowerment, with the fact that some women now have the money. People say, Kangende, you don't have effort to say, can we make this work? Because your friend went and she's moving on. The other.
So Robert, what you're saying, in summary, this is what you're saying. As a woman, you need to think twice about the man that you probably intend to have children with.
Not go for Range Rover.
No, listen. And then also as a man,
yes,
you have to think twice about the woman you intend to have your children with. So entirely, the issue is about
because
the
when you make a right choice, even when things go away, you can single parent
as a man.
But there are women who will tell you,
so what you're trying to say as a man, you don't have to be self-aware about your character as an individual.
Let me just say something.
Is that what you're trying to communicate? Because I am seeing all the entire blame is being put on the woman.
Probably it's
you as a man. Because that is what you're saying. As a man, you don't have to care about yourself.
That's his opinion. That's his opinion.
No, not my opinion. This is reality.
You're really embarrassing.
You're so much taken by earthly things.
Okay, away from being emotional. I think we're getting emotional here, but let me just say this honestly and truly. And as a Christian scholar, I want to bring it from the aspect of the Bible. God gave man a conceptual indifference from women, and that's biblical. You can bring in from the Genesis story, talk of how many great men the Bible has had, but all these have depicted men to be the custodians of how they'll craft their families. If you remember the story of, you look at our great-grandfather in the Bible, Abraham, how he struggled with family. The woman wouldn't give birth, to the point that he didn't even go out of his family, but until the wife said, how about you, like I have, how about you, Again, it puts the man into a picture of to be a custodian. Yes. Go to Adam and Eve. It puts the man into a picture of being a custodian of a family setup. I can take you to the issue of Joseph and Mary. Again, the angel comes and tells Joseph, guy, look here, this and this has happened, but because you are the head of this family, take it cool. This is the Lord's decision, and it is his desire that, again, why do you think the angel went to Joseph and should have said, just neglect that guy, just give birth to the son of God, and so many other stories. Look at the stories of Hannah, the Peninnahs, all these stories. What am I bringing to life? There's a bigger role of a man in setting up a family or parenting. Now, that is the biggest contradiction, most recent, that men think or have, and this is, I think, a deception of modernity. They think that this role can be barter traded, and that's the problem. That directly works into the kind of people we choose. For example, why do you wake up one day as a man? My focus is as a man on this one. And say you want to give birth with someone, but you only realize you don't want to be with her after she has given birth. Who's fooling who now? Why don't you take time? The Chinese, I wish I could say this in Chinese, but someone would say I'm lying, but I was going to say it, but let me transfer it to English. They say, for a good tailor, they can only measure 1,000 times and only cut once. You get the point? It is unfair for us to think that we can make good after wrong. Why don't we do the reverse? Like, why don't you measure 1,000 times before you cut? Why is the woman bad? Why is she? All these other things after she has given. Why don't you take the same time for you to decide all these things before? You see, one of my very good friends, my uncle, he's a priest, he's called Father Tony. He tells me, and he said it one time, we're doing some family, I remember Felix, the duty of parenthood, we are taking it so lightly as a generation.
Yes.
It is a lifetime. I've told you here and I'll say it again. It haunts you. You'll be up there, whether in heaven or hell. I don't speak for hell, but I know some of us who have places in heaven. You're up there in heaven singing with the angels, and you're looking at your child. You're looking at those things happen. When you want to have children, think about them entirely. This business of thinking that you can have kids because it is not you to mother, because the men, we don't carry. No one will see you're pregnant. You get the point. So, you may never carry the shame, you don't carry the what, you don't. The only thing you can do is what they call providing. But kids need more than provision. And for me, this is where I go against my colleagues. Before you choose, and I've said this though, you guys last time said that was a bit harsh. The business of sexual intercourse has qualifications.
It's not a right.
No! And that's the misconception. S1, S2. What business do you have to have sex in S2? Let me tell you, even year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 in university, you have no business having sexual relationships. Because relationships are about giving and taking. Robert, I find a beautiful Mollen here. The first question I ask to myself, what am I bringing on her table? Kakati, year 2, let me tell you what they have. Coursework, tests, tibaina tuition, hostel, bukapeti, baina bukapeti buno bwalayise oba mugundi, baina buwuufa buno emitwalo ebiri, baina bu stove, n'obusepiki. You can't bring that to a relationship. It's a win-win, man. Look at the poor girl. She's struggling with tuition. Jaji yasimanya yatunze biki. Coursework tategeera, ali mufuna myenda, but they also want to relate. And then they have a kid. They cannot be together. Their problems are bigger than themselves. It's a union of problems. You have an accident of problems.
They will tell you that they are in love.
Then you ask them what love. They are the ones who are supporting these phone companies. They are bagula pakalas ne basulanga bayogera nze bolindeka nikodira never dedicating lobimba bwaze yoni what that nonsense. And that's how we get what you call single. Let me tell you, you can't meet like that and stay together, Robert. Honest, because let's be real, you can't meet like that and have a kid and stay together.
But even Felix, there are those that have met the right way and still choose to part ways.
You know, Robert, let's be honest. As I told you, we have circumstances. People get even married and what and everything. That's why I've told you, we spend very little time, we invest very little time in understanding our people. Mikwano jaffe emirungi gino emikyala nabo tebeewabudde kututegeera. I gave you the list of the things that disturb women and even us men. That's why you find men kiraba agamba nze ndi asava, chick with big bums and what. Now that can be secondary, but have you looked at, that's why in Uganda, I'm sorry, let me say this in Uganda with due respect to all our listeners and viewers, old is gold. We can never outbeat these people who put systems in this country. There's a song in Uganda, Ntimfunda n'omubi ngazala ng'alima ng'ayaniriza. Why do you think they chose those activities? In particular, what does okuzala represent? Family. Ngazala ng'akola ki? Alima is work, hard working. 3 is social. Ngayaniriza naba. They didn't talk about ngowebina, owetama, omwero nnyo, abigule nnyo. Why isn't that the selection was different? Nfunda n'omubi ng'azaala ng'alima ngayaniriza n'abagenyi. What are we looking after today? I can leave that for Philomena to answer. She's there pretending, pressing.
Coming in from a couple of viewers, and there is one coming in here saying, women of these days, once she earns a salary of 400K, they forget about respecting their men because they know hair, rent, nails is covered without knowing marriage itself has got challenges. And also coming in from another viewer here saying all the single parenting is a result of women empowerment and gender balance. It's all about women leaving their positions and feeding venom to kids for men being on a hot plate, and also their defensive nature comes in and look for their safety. Okay, I hope I got that right. But anyway, I think at the end of the day, everybody has to be self-aware. As a man and as a woman, you have to be a little bit selfish before you pick your partner. It's just not a responsibility that will leave to only one party. You don't come relying on, the other gender, thinking since she's the woman, she's ideally supposed to be the mother. But you see, at the end of the day, when she gets out of the equation, the judgment goes to her. So even you as a man, even as a woman, you need to be very self-aware. Honestly, in my opinion, I feel like self-awareness is very key. What are you looking for in a partner? Are you going to actually be a loyal partner to this person you're looking for? After making your so-called list, this is the kind of man I want, this is the kind of woman I want. Am I actually going to stick through with this woman? Am I going to stick through with this man? We have our children, as opposed to, not being very certain, going by the physical attributes and all that. So I really don't think that it's a responsibility that should be left to one person, whether the mother or the father. And we also have to agree that both men and women can be very irresponsible in these marriages, and they both have contributed to why we are seeing single parenting, growing. It could be partially a woman's problem, it could be partially as a man's problem. But what have you contributed to this problem arising? But also one part we have forgotten to look at in all this is the child. Now, whether the mother was a terrible person or the father was a nonsensical father, at the end of the day, a child is going to be quite a victim of all this. And we need to look at all the effects that this has on the children. Maybe just to hear from you, Mollen, with all this single parenting we have seen, I mean, there will always be a gray area. Everybody will always be pushing blame to the other party or this party because they believe they're the ones that have contributed immensely. But we need to look at the children. I mean, what are some of the effects that we are going to eventually, for a child who has been raised single-handedly by a mother or a father, what could be some of the effects we're seeing on these children?
Well, I think we also have to acknowledge the fact that we are talking about single parenting here, and the key word should be parenting. Single or together parenting should remain the same. And this is where we're getting it wrong, because the moment we start to add other words that are, connected to it, then everyone will get on the defensive side. I do agree with someone who sent in their view saying, we all get defensive when the blame comes to the men. The men will be defensive, and I think we've just seen it right here on set. And it can be thrown out there and say, what,
it's a very tricky scenario.
Women are to blame, men will always run away from the responsibility, and like they have put it clearly, they have nothing to show for it. But as a woman, this is a child you gave birth to, you're always going to be a mother. So I think the first thing to do is make sure that this child is not affected by whatever is going on. Whether you're raising this child on your own or whether you have support from the father or the mother, you must make sure they are growing up right. And sometimes it's just the morals, because I do also agree with talking to a child about the situation at hand. It's not right for you to lie to this child and tell them, this is what is happening, you build a lot of castles in the air. But children are able to understand, actually. If you look at even medically, children are able to understand. At a certain age, you tell them, what, I am raising you. Yes, you have a father, yes, you have a mother, but they are not with us here. However, this is what is happening, and they're able to understand that. You morally bring them up right. I also do saying bad things about the parent who left. That is not right, because you're trying to show this child that it's okay. That it's okay for you to talk about the other person the wrong way. Yes, they left. It's okay for you to tell them we had our differences. They are not in the picture, and they are not responsible, for whatever we are doing here. However, you as a person must grow up to be a better person. I think that's the right way to put it. However, you also don't have to lie to them and tell them, what, your father is paying school fees while you're the one paying it. It's probably not right, but show them that it's okay that the father is not in the picture. It's okay that they chose to live another life, and the kids should be okay to relate with the parent who left, because at the end of the day, this person is still their father, this person is still their mother,
Yeah.
and you cannot take that away. Well, they will have a guardian, they will have another, you know, adopted parent or whatever, it will be there, but this is their biological parent by virtue of birth, and that will not be taken away. Also, we look at the way these kids are growing up in schools. They are going to relate with other kids who are from, you know, families where they have both parents, and some of the things will have to affect them because they hear their colleagues talk about, oh, my father, my mother, this is what they do, this is what happens, we always go out with my father and my mother, and the child does not have that experience. So that leaves a little bit of an emotion in there that needs to be addressed, and this is where you as a parent who is, you know, standing should come in. You must be ready to play both roles and make sure that you're bringing up a child who is happy regardless of your situation. If you're not happy, yes, that is you, that is because of the circumstances that have happened, probably ones you cannot control, but make sure that the child is able to grow up in a way where they feel proud to actually be with just you, and they are comfortable with that, and they are also able to tell their stories that, you know, my mom does this for me, my dad does this for me. That is you raising a child who is emotionally in a state to know that it's okay to you know, to have my parent. Because some of the single parenting we're actually talking about, some of the parents are not in the picture because they probably died, and, you know, you left as a widower or as a widower to raise this child. So this person is not in the picture. We have to acknowledge that part and raise these children in a right way. And I think we can all play defensive and talk about, you know, this is not being responsible. But as a person thinking to be a parent right now, some of the things we are talking here on set are actually key. Because you look into whether you're ready to have this child. Before you have the child, you as a person, before bringing in the other partner, are you able to take care of a child? Do you even have a job? Yourself, thinking that by getting into this marriage that is okay, you don't have any source of income whatsoever, and you're counting on the marriage that you will be able to take care of children, that is also not right. I think people should be able to personally raise a child before you actually have a child, because we've seen marriages that also break, and, you know, you leave kids in the picture right there. So I think we should be able to discuss some of these issues deeply and understand them before we have the children in the first place. And I think another question, Philomena, as I'm concluding this, another question is, some of these parents, the fact that you don't have any relation with the mother or the father anymore shouldn't be an issue for you to stop you from seeing your child or taking care of your child. I think let's leave all this millennial relationship drama aside and
now
take
you accept their millennial
and take care of the children, because we're talking about children here. You have an issue with this man, you have an issue with this woman, let it be your issue, but the child should have your utmost attention. Whether you want to see this guy or not, or whether you want to see this woman or not, at least want to see your child, ask for that time. Make sure you have equal time in seeing the child, and be responsible enough to take care of their needs. Well, how would you feel as a, I don't even understand, as a man, how are you comfortable sitting there and you know your child goes to school and you're not paying school fees and you're comfortably going out with the boys and acting like you're a man? That takes away something
That's
from
a good
you.
one. That's a good
That
one.
takes
Well,
away
it
something
is
from
good
you.
morning, Uganda, but also one more thing, Mollen. I believe that we need the same education and attention that we give to girls to get them ready for all this. Should be the same education we extend to the boys. Otherwise, we'll have more people like Robert thinking that everything should be about the woman.
For me, lastly, I think
but we need men need to understand their responsibility as a woman. Also need to understand
us having a child is not a must that we must be together. We can co-parent. It's not a must that because I have a child with you, so I must be
No. We're not looking at the aftermath. We are looking at before. How do we get this?
No, but
we need the
Philo,
men to understand, also the women, because again, I am totally in disagreement with what you said earlier about how women should think twice about the men they get, and men should think twice about the women they get.
Yes, it's
do you and it's really clearly showing how you're not so self-aware as a man.
Yeah.
What kind of responsibility are you playing in this party? why are you putting everything on the woman? Why do you no. The thing is,
you're not
getting the clarity that you have to have as a man. I don't know if Felix can help me describe what I'm saying.
He actually did, because he brought out a good point relating with the Bible. He did talk about an issue of a man being a man in this picture.
Yes.
And I think some of the things were defined way back in the Bible times even then. And he brought out a good example, I think, of Abraham, because we also know that at some point when he couldn't have a child, he did have another woman. And still this was a woman who was respected in a family. Abraham did not run away from both responsibilities, even after Sarah had a child. So I think some of the things are fundamental, and that is where some men, unfortunately, won't get it.
Yes.
And it's okay. But we need to educate the ones that get it, and the ones that are getting into the role to understand that as a man, you don't have to sit there and talk about, and by the way, I'm offended by the fact that a man can sit here and talk about a woman that, you know, opening the, this is vulgar and this is offensive for you to sit here.
Please just allow me to say this.
I'm the person. As we are coming close.
Yeah. and just reacting, not even to, I've left Bob for you people.
Yes.
but there is something that Philo, you said about preparing
both boys and girls.
And do you know what's happening? Girls are equally not being prepared for family.
Yes.
They're being prepared for sex.
That's true.
Those are the talks they're having with these things they call singers. Tebayogera ku family. Omusajja wajja bisende jamwempale bukadde eno buka akalega amasimanyi water gabuse eno. That's what they are talking about. That's useless. We're not going to have sex from morning to night. No.
We need a deeper conversation.
No, honestly and truly, you people are talking about preparing the women. The women are to be mothers. They're teaching them to be sex.
The sex education is turning out to be very irrelevant.
They're teaching them to be sex stars. Bukeno, wait to say, hey, they're not talking about how do you calm down. No one is talking. So, if you're talking about preparing, we all still have it wrong. So let's have the right discussions. When do we talk about family? Remember those days, Bob, you were there. When they used to tell you, Okwati kamazi mukama. Those were the talks that when someone's temper are high, how do you deal with that situation? Not to have exchanges, then before you know, I've left. Amchara take kamazi mukama. Do you know what that means? It seems bogus and what, but it worked. So that every time someone is insulting you, you can't talk. But today, those are the talks they used to have earlier. But today, because the singers didn't talk about behavior.
Now you're talking about family and marriages and all these things.
The relationships. At the end of the day, they're the reasons why we have all these things. Trust me, when you break it down, Mollen, you find that it's about our attitude, both parties. A woman feels, Robert said it, a girl will feel disgusted.
Yes.
And a woman will equally feel not probably supported because we're having the wrong talks. We have cut out sex to be the greatest thing for men and women union. We think it's the only thing a man and a woman must do. When you wake up, when you sleep, the only thing you're talking about is that. So let's have the discussion about family and probably how to stay together as a family.
Well, the conversation could go on and on and on, but we have to go. We still have quite a lot to bring for you on the table here on Good Morning Uganda. But I can assure you this conversation is going on after this.
Against
behind the scenes. Good morning. We'll be back.
Run for your life.
Women be responsible.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to...
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Happiness comes to us in many places. It's in knowing the mosquito net keeps our children healthy. The wife having the support of her husband. It's in deciding together when to have a baby. And for some, focusing on what's important right now. So what's your happiness? Make the right health decisions to ensure happiness for you and your family.
Kenyana kutusako Shimba Life ku Kampala Serena Hotel Victoria Hall Friday nga mwena December Neku Saturday nga 10 December Okuingira shinji mtwalo 15 Emeze ni kama ntomunana ya milioni 3 Hati alebadi wogulanga bujali Mtwalo 10 Eno 2 days mega concert Ku Sunday nga 11 Freedom City 16 December Chotela Mchawe 17 December Mbarara Ajip Motel 18 December Fort Porto au Mubuhinga Stadium Wone shilingi mtwalo mu VIP mtwale 3 Beautiful Shimba Swag Mama Ice Cream Queen Kama Waku konko ni nyimba zezona hit to hit Kati musale wunga buchalava Tusale ko Serena Mwitino wana bubaina mos butekelo Wabana bubasiria pizza amatuga Kampuruma Kenti events Leti setinze MTN
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to the press review this morning. Looking at the day. The big story, EU sanctions Ugandan trader over Congo fight. And we're looking at the European Union imposing travel restrictions on businessman Alain Francois Vivian, the spokesperson of M23 rebels and 5 other Congolese, and also froze their assets, accusing them, among others, of grotesque rights violations and illicit exploitation of DR Congo natural resources. And looking at African solutions, Kosi Ideas Festival 2022 kicks off in Nairobi, and looking at some of the dancers entertaining participants during the Kosi Ideas Festival, which is in Nairobi. Now, looking at also LDC staff interdicted over abuse of office. Don't forget there is a Scope Entertainment pullout. Looking at Global Moves, Uganda Boys doing it for the culture. And looking at the New Vision, Otafire orders probe on opposition. FDC new pre-actors, a speaker brokers meeting over missing persons. And embrace mechanized agriculture, says Museveni. Support human capital systems, says First Lady. And also looking at Umeme confirms Uganda exit. Well, again, this has been making news for the last couple of days. You can catch the full details during the New Vision this morning. And crossing over to the Daily Nation, World Bank's bittersweet pill for Kenyans. The lender has proposed a bag full of sensitive reforms to spur Kenya's economic recovery, handing President William Ruto's regime some tough choices of fueling growth while safeguarding investor confidence and appeasing a restless population scorched by the high cost of living. And they're giving you the proposals. Also looking at Kusi Ideas Festival opens with call for more climate funding, still looking at more attention and effort directed towards that fight. Why Raila called off his parallel Jamhuri rally, and school heads to wait longer for transfers back to home counties. And also in probe, audit projects in Uhuru's last term, MPs demand. Well, get the Daily Nation, the New Vision and Daily Monitor this morning to catch on those stories. Well, Mollen is here to give us more from the weather and climate segment.
Well, we look at the weather this morning. We'll be tapping in from our satellites that is over the country right now, tapping it from the EUMETSAT satellite right here. And of course, we're starting off with mostly those cloudy conditions that did start on earlier across most areas within the Lake Victoria Basin, where we're seeing the orange red colors right there. We're talking about mostly rainy conditions right now, even as we speak. That is extending all the way up to parts of Entebbe, where we are also seeing a few rains dropping in. And that system is headed for areas within Kampala, Mukono. We're looking at Wakiso, also likely to have those rains for most areas for this morning. We're also looking at the western part of Lake Victoria. That is where we have Masaka, Kalis, Zorengo. You can expect to have those rains also coming your way, as that system is headed mostly westwards. We're looking at some of the areas also today, starting off with quite a cloudy morning. Southwestern Uganda, Midwestern Uganda. We're looking at Fort Porto. We're looking at Mubende right there, also starting off with quite a cloudy morning. All the way across the western stretch, you're looking at Hoima, starting off with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Now the open quite blue colors right there are indicating quite a sunny morning for those areas highlighted. We're looking at mostly northwestern Uganda as well. Arua, Yumbe, that area starting off with mostly a sunny morning. We do have a little bit of clouds that are starting to develop. That is across parts of central northern Uganda. That is towards areas of Nimule, all the way towards Gulu, Padel, starting off with quite a cloudy morning. We do have a sunny weather still coming all the way up to the extent of Lira. The Choga area also starting off with quite a sunny morning, but we do see a little bit of clouds starting to develop over the Karamoja region, Kotido right there, Moroto. We could be expecting a few rains to drop in through, but that will be across a few areas. Also starting off with quite a sunny morning across areas of eastern Uganda, Muria right there. Also for areas of Soroti, starting off with mostly a sunny morning. We're also seeing a little bit of clouds starting to develop across Mbale and much of Mount Elgon Highlands, where we'll be seeing a little bit of rains also coming through for much of today morning. Now we'll also look at mostly the coverage coming through from the models, the forecast models for today. Look at the extensive extent of the rains for today, and we'll be tapping in from our African models, showing that we'll have mostly rainy conditions dominating for Midwestern Uganda. That is for areas of Masindi all the way towards Hoima, Mubende, extending all the way up to Fort Porto, and a little bit of that also extending towards eastern parts of Central. That is where we have areas that are likely to have rainy conditions. On the map, it is shown by the green color right there. That is indicative of the areas where we'll have mostly rainy activities. The blue colors are indicative of rainy activities also in the forecast, but to a smaller quantity. Now that takes in the Lake Victoria Basin as well, parts of central, southwestern Uganda, and also parts of northwestern Uganda, where we have West Nile right there. We do expect to have rains there, although it will be in smaller quantities compared to what we're seeing over Midwestern Uganda. Now, where we have open white colors right there, that is indicating that we'll continue to have dry conditions for much of today. That is what we do expect from the forecast models being highlighted. Now we take a look at what we do expect as you head into the weekend. Now this is for Saturday, a little bit of a repeat for today across the southern sector. However, we start to see rains developing across the Karamoja region. Now we do see that at least that will be something good to bring in those dry conditions a little bit down, because we will have those rains coming through. Now we also have a forecast for rains developing mostly across the western parts of Lake Victoria Basin, meaning that Saturday areas of Masaka, that takes in areas of also the central part of Lake Victoria, Wakiso, Kampala, Mukono, taking in Tebe as well, will have more rains compared to the rest of the country. That takes in as well southwestern Uganda, areas of Kaba, Lake Isoro, that area will have more rains as well. And also western Uganda still highlighted for a possibility of wet weather activities. Although we see a reduction for central northern Uganda, parts of eastern Uganda as well, where we have those open white and grey colors, that is indicating that we'll continue with dry conditions. Now as we head into Sunday, we will see again more rains developing for the southern sector. We're talking about the Lake Victoria Basin. That is all the way where we're seeing the green colors, indicating that we'll have rains for parts of Tororo, Jinja, Kampala. We cross over into Mukono, Wakiso, takes in the western area as well. That is Masaka, extending all the way up to Mubende. Parts of Nakasongola, Ruero will also be having those rains. That extends towards southwestern Uganda, Mbarara, Oshenyi, also crossing over into Kabale Highlands. We'll have more rains for Sunday compared to the rest of the country, where we are seeing at least light showers expected for midwestern Uganda. That takes in areas of Masindi, Hoima, extending all the way up to parts of Choga. We could be looking at reduced activities again for the northern part of the country, as well as eastern Uganda, although we're seeing a little bit of rains expected for the Karamoja region. So for Sunday, if you actually, if you have to choose which of the 2 days within the weekend, if you have any outdoor activities, especially for areas in the southern sector, you might want to choose Saturday, because Sunday we do expect more rains to come through for most of the areas within the southern sector. And of course, we also have to expect that temperatures will be equally low for Sunday compared to Saturday, because we have those rains that will be coming through to keep temperatures a little bit down. Now also we do have mostly warm weather still expected across the northern part of the country. That takes in areas of, you look at northwestern Uganda, where we'll be expecting much of that. Now that is it for our weather update this morning. We'll be coming through with mostly entertainment news coming through from the movies and the books, what you can expect for the weekend right after the break.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Get yourself a Zuku TV decoder and satellite dish today at a low price of only 105,000 Ugandan shillings, and a Zuku decoder at only 60,000 Ugandan shillings, and enjoy your favorite movies, series, kids entertainment, music, local and international news, and loads more. Enjoy amazing packages like Zuku Smart, Zuku Smart Plus, Zuku Classic, Zuku Premium, and Zuku Asia. Get connected today. Zuku, life got better.
Kenyana kutusako Shimba life ku Kampala Serena Hotel Victoria Hall Friday nga mwena December Neku Saturday nga 10 December Ukwingira shinji mtwalo 15 Emeze ni kama ntomunana ya milioni 3 Hate alebad ticket bwogulanga bukyali emitwalo 10 eno 2 days mega concert ku Sunday nga 11 Freedom City 16 December Chotera Mchawe 17 December Mbara Ajip Motel 18 December Fort Porto au mu Buhinga Stadium connections omutwalo ku VIP ntwale 3 beautiful Sheba Swag Mama Ice Cream Queen Gama wakukonko ne nyimba zezona hit to hit kati musale wonga buchalaba tusale ko Serena mudino bwana bubaira mos butekelo obwana bwesiga pizza amatuga mpuma kati event let's say
MTN.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, it is Good Morning Uganda Special Friday, and of course here to spot out for you what you can look out for this weekend. Now, if you're a movie lover and if you love animation, this is one that you're going to love. It is coming out today, this Friday, streaming on Netflix. And of course, one of the movies that is taking a good story for me, it is Dragon Age, The Absolution. Now, this takes you through a story where you look at, with great powers at stake, a group of misfits must work together to steal an artifact from a sinister mage who is also playing his game right there. Now, these people have to come together and make sure they are able to return what was stolen, or the world could be at stake. Now, that is mostly teamwork, playing a lot in there, but we want to take a look at the trailer and see what to expect for Dragon Age, The Absolution.
The Circulum Infinitus.
It is an extremely dangerous artifact fueled by blood magic. And I cannot recall any good coming from something powered by murder.
I won't let anyone take the Circulum from me.
Fire!
Work faster, or we're all dead.
People like us don't change the world, Kira, because people like you never try. You have to stop running from the past, Marion. If you can't do it now, I worry that maybe you never will.
Together, we can make Tevinter a better place for everyone.
I will never be a slave again.
Well, that is Dragon Age Absolution, of course, streaming today and coming out. If you are able to stream it, that is one movie to look out for. And the next movie, also now showing on Netflix, is Troll. Well, if you love adventure and also a little bit of sci-fi, that is, I find very interesting in this particular movie. Now, the Troll movie takes you through a story of an ancient troll who is awakened in a Norwegian mountain. Well, a ragtag group of heroes must come together to try and stop it from wreaking deadly havoc. Now, that is a movie to look out for. You do have actresses like Arin Marie Willman and Mads Sigurd Peterson, who has been known for a lot of movies, especially within Marvel world. Kim Ace, who is playing as Andres in there. And of course, you can expect a lot of action. It is a thriller, it's an action, it's an adventure. One to look out for. Let's take a look at the trailer.
For their lives.
Imagine the consequences.
Hva det der?
Jeg ikke kvalifisert til å svare på hva dette er.
Men vi trenger noe som det.
Roald Lidman, statsministeren har gitt deg status som vitenskapelig rådgiver.
Dere vet at jeg graver opp fossiler? Det noe som kom ut av fjellet i dag.
King Kong, kanskje?
Start opp.
Du vet det at det er et snev av sannhet i alle eventyr?
Herregud.
La oss utrydde den før den utrydder oss.
Dette eventyr har så vidt begynt.
Mye militær erfaring, eller?
En del.
Ja.
Call of Duty.
Vi kan skremme den med våpen. Vi kan presse den nok. Den er lovlig. Naturen kommer til å slå tilbake.
Hey ho.
Let's go.
Well, that movie does remind me of a lot of villains being fought in the series The Flash. But one to look out for, and that is The Troll. It is available in the Norwegian language, but also English language, streaming on Netflix. Now, the next movie, one to look out for, if you love action as well, this is one for you. And if you love sport, well, it is the movie The Swimmers. It takes you through a story of two Syrian sisters who flee their war-torn home in Damascus. They swim for hours in the seas, Mediterranean Sea, to reach Greece as an asylum seeker. But before going on a complete strike to Rio Olympics game. Now that is told based on a true story actually, but one to look out for. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Nothing to lose. We need to move forward. We're not allowed to give up.
Actresses like Natalie Issa, Manuel Issa, who are playing as the sisters, and of course in there Matthias Schweitzner, who is a German actor, best known for his role in the movie Army of Thieves. That's the kind of action that he's bringing on in this movie. Now, there is something going on, especially when you look at royal families. Now, this is a story that is being unveiled right now by Netflix in a series, and an unlimited series to Netflix, that is Harry and Meghan. Well, it takes you a journey of these two as they exit the royal family. Meghan and Harry have to plan a way out in a field faced with racism, with division, and they are seeking the truth. Now, in this series, they are giving you more of their life story, how they leave the House of Windsor and still not tell all the truth from the darkest corners of the House of Windsor. Well, anyone interested in this couple would know that this is a very, very good series to watch right now. Understand the core reason why Meghan and Harry had to leave their loyalty behind for pursuit of love, for pursuit of adventure, but also for pursuit of the truth. This is what we're looking at. Let's take a look into the trailer.
You know, there's leaking, but there's also planting of stories.
There was a war against Meghan to suit other people's agendas.
It's about hatred. It's about race. It's a dirty game. The pain and suffering of women marrying into this institution, this feeding frenzy.
I realized they're never going to protect you.
I was terrified. I didn't want history to repeat itself. No one knows the full truth. We know the full truth.
Full truth right there already. The first volume is out, and of course uncovering some of the darkest secrets that you didn't know existed in the royal family. That's the series coming to you, of course featuring themselves, that is Meghan and Harry, and of course some of the renowned actresses and actors that are in supportive roles to bring out the reality of this. Now, in case you're not going to be catching any movies and you just want to chill or get a good read for this weekend, I want to recommend you one of the top reads in 2020, and of course ranked by Amazon and coming in from Goodreads. This book is one to look out for. We're talking about Stolen Focus. In the book Stolen Focus, it's giving you Sunday Times and New York Times bestseller. That is Jonah Harry, who is the author of this book. And it gives you a read about if modern world is driving us crazy, what next? Read this one. Of course, it's a book exactly about what the world needs right now. Which focus do you have to keep? And some of those, when they are stolen away, what is it that you can do? Of course, it gives you a tale of what is being lost and why you cannot pay attention to some of those. That's the book, the good Stolen Focus, that you can look out for this weekend. And of course, you do know that some of these books actually bring out the reality in some of the conversations that Philomena, Felix, and Robert who are having this morning about you know, things that go on in society, how you can relate with, but also not lose focus. So I find this book really a good one to go for. And of course, it's having good ratings. We are looking at Goodreads giving it 4.3 out of 5, and of course Audible also giving it 4.7 out of 5. Obviously bestseller on Amazon Kindle right now. If you can access some of those book sites, you can get the book, and of course it can also be ordered online, and you can also, actually it's available in online print, so meaning that you can read it online. This is one to look out for, and of course it would go a long way into showing you what to pay attention to. But also this weekend, I want to spot out for you something that you can go for. Now, you want to look like $1 million, look like you have money, whether you have it or not. You need to make sure that you have a good designer for that. I'm talking about Alvin Clever. That is the guy who gets me my outfits every Friday. You have to look good, and of course, that is the person you have to look out for. He is at the Rural Park Plaza, shop number F2 637. You can reach out to him, and of course, get yourself some nice wares for the weekend. Also, look out for his social medias. That is at Alvin Clever, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Make sure you look nice, and of course recommend a friend. We do have a discount that is still giving out. The code, if you're watching this, and of course if you always follow up Friday sessions, the code is Mollen at UBC, and you're able to get yourself 20% discount off every item that you buy from Alvin Clever. He's the best designer in town right now. Of course, you have to look out for that. Now, Philomena, this weekend, what are you doing? Movies, books, or you're going out? Is there any dates in question?
So,
yes.
This weekend, I want to go and watch rugby this weekend. I want to go and watch rugby, I think, on Saturday. I also want to go and catch a movie. There are very many things I really want to do, but those are some of the highlights. So if you find me anywhere,
I shouldn't be surprised.
Don't be surprised.
I think a lot of people would be surprised finding you at a rugby place, but
you'll be surprised.
Probably wouldn't be surprised. No, and rugby is fun to watch. Not forgetting that we actually have an action-packed for the sports this weekend.
Oh yeah,
the quarterfinals, and obviously a lot of us will have to be stationed on UBC to make sure that we're able to watch these games.
Morocco we go. I can't wait to rub it in the face of Felix, the likes of Felix, come Monday, and Robert, I'm not so sure about
Morocco
Felix.
could go all the way, and we are looking at, by the way, this World Cup has been exceptional. A lot of teams that you never expected to be out at such levels were out, you know, and now we're looking at, you know, very surprising cases that we could be looking at. Netherlands and Argentina tonight.
Yes.
I think my bets would be on Argentina.
I'm also looking at Argentina.
Probably also the fact that they have the goat right there, Messi, but Argentina is a strong team. But
he has to prove himself useful also.
Exactly. Argentina is a strong team.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And again, I know that the excitement is really crazy. But lucky for you, UBC is here to make sure that you watch all these games. And also over the weekend, there is quite a lot for you to pick from, like Mollen did advise. So yeah, I think we've really done quite well. And again, I keep reminding people, please buy a Christmas tree or get a Christmas tree. I don't know how they call those the natural Christmas trees in Uganda. If I could say it in my mother tongue, probably it could make sense, but I won't do that.
Please do it. Some of us don't know.
I don't know whether it's called kapurupuisi or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah,
by the way, I think we need to have a conversation on Christmas trees. Yes. A lot of families, they just put a Christmas tree, but it has
has to be accompanied by gifts. So this
Hey,
Christmas,
don't just
guys,
bring a tree and plant it in the corner. Please
have
put
the
gifts
gifts there. Yes.
But also speaking of Christmas trees, I don't know if you remember back in the day when we really didn't have all these sophisticated decorations. All you had to do were like, the ribbons back in the day, the ordinary ribbons, that whole chart that had the small and big ribbons, and then cards, Christmas
balloons,
the balloons and all that. I always looked forward to the decorating part, and then we had these other shiny decorations. I don't even remember what they were called. The Merry Christmas,
like piñadas.
Yes,
so they're big and huge,
very
you can just blow them around. I think piñadas. Yeah.
Well, so I don't know if people still look forward to decorating Christmas trees. Apart from what we see in the movies. I don't know when it comes to reality whether the excitement is still like that. But yes, the gifts are very important. People, please get the gifts. Well, we are going in for a break. When we get back, we do have sports updates coming through. It's Good Morning Uganda Friday special. We'll be back.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800 100-066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution, or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone, or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312 206 400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
Protection Fund of Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Think like you're a man. That takes away something from you.
That's a good
Well,
That
it is Good Morning Uganda, but also one more thing, Mollen. I believe that we need the same education and attention that we give to girls to get them ready for all this. Should be the same education we extend to the boys. Otherwise, we'll have more people like Robert thinking that everything should be about the woman.
For me, lastly, I think
but we need to understand their responsibility as a woman. Also need to understand
us having a child is not a must that we must be together. We can co-parent. It's not a must that because I have a child with you, so I must be.
No. We're not looking at the aftermath. We are looking at before. How do we get this? We need the men to understand, also the women, because again, I am totally in disagreement with what you said earlier about how women should think twice about the men they get, and men should think twice about the women they get.
Yes, it's
do you and it's really clearly showing how you're not so self-aware as a man. What kind of responsibility are you playing in this party? Why are you putting everything on the woman? Why do you no. The thing is, you're not getting the clarity that you have to have as a man. I don't know if Felix can help me describe what I'm saying.
He actually did, because he brought out a good point relating with the Bible. He did talk about an issue of a man being a man in this picture. And I think some of the things were defined way back in the Bible times, even then. And he brought out a good example, I think, of Abraham, because we also know that at some point when he couldn't have a child, he did have another woman, and still this was a woman who was respected in a family. Abraham did not run away from both responsibilities, even after Sarah had a child. So I think some of these things are fundamental, and that is where some men, unfortunately, won't get it. And it's okay. But we need to educate the ones that get it, and the ones that are getting into the role to understand that as a man, you don't have to sit there and talk about, and by the way, I'm offended by the fact that a man can sit here and talk about a woman that, you know, opening the, this is vulgar and this is offensive for you to sit here.
Just allow me to say this. I'm the person
that would be in the midfield of 3, as well as Richarlison on top as the number 9 for Brazil. Then Croatian side, of course, the suspects will be there. Perisic, Kranic, players like Modric will be starting for Croatia. But the question is, who's going to take the day? I think Croatia might find it hard to break down that Brazilian team that is currently scoring goals for fun. They did score 4 past South Korea in the round of 16, and we expect them to get more goals against Croatia. Then the game of the night, that will be live on UBC TV. The Dutch will take on the Argentina. That will be at 10 p.m. And as we talk now, there's been rumor of Lionel Messi might not be able to be part of this game, but those are just mind games. Messi is fit to play, and he will be taking part of this game. Of course, Argentina will line up in a 4-3-1-2 system. At the 4, we'll have Romero, Otamendi, Molina, and Acciona. Then the 3 midfielders will be McAllister, Paredes, and Fernandez. Then Messi will be behind Angelo Di Maria and Alvarez. That might be the team to start for Argentina. Then the Dutch, the Orange, will have Memphis Depay and Gapco up front, and Krasen will be behind the 2 strikers in a system that Louis van Gaal has come up with in a 3-4-1-2 system. Of course, the three defenders will include Jonathan Eke, Virgil van Dijk, and Timber. Then the wing backs, that's Dumfries as well as Blind, will be the wing backs. We'll actually add the midfield to make it a 4. Then De Jong and the Roon will be in the midfield. That is the center of the park to operate.
As we are coming close.
And just reacting, not even to I've left Bob for you people. Yes. but there is something that Philo you said about preparing
both boys and girls.
And you know what's happening? Girls are equally not being prepared for family.
Yes.
They're being prepared for sex.
That's true.
Those are the talks they're having with these things they call singers. Tebayogera ku family. Omusajja wajja bisende. Jamwe pale buka deno, buka akalega, amasimanyi water gabuse no. That's what they are talking about. That's useless. We're not going to have sex from morning to night. No.
We need a deeper conversation.
No, honestly and truly, you people are talking about pairing the women. The women are to be mothers. They're teaching them to be sex.
The sex education is turning out to be very irrelevant.
They're teaching them to be sex stars. Bukeno, wait to say, hey, they're not talking about how do you calm down. No one is talking. So, if you're talking about preparing, we all still have it wrong. So let's have the right discussions. When do we talk about family? You remember those days? Bob, you were there. When they used to tell you, Okwati kamazi mukama. Those were the talks that when someone's temper are high, how do you deal with that situation? Not to have exchanges, then before you know, I've left. Do you know what that means? It seems bogus and what, but it worked. So that every time someone is insulting you, you can't talk. But today, those are the talks they used to have earlier. But today, because the singers didn't talk about behavior.
Now you're talking about family and marriages and all these things.
The relationships. At the end of the day, they're the reasons why we have all these things. Trust me, when you break it down, Mollen, you find that it's about our attitude, both parties. A woman feels, Robert said it, a girl will feel disgusted. Yes. And a woman will equally feel not probably supported because we're having the wrong talks. We have cut out sex to be the greatest thing for men and women union. We think it's the only thing a man and a woman must do. When you wake up, when you sleep, the only thing you're talking about is that. So let's have the discussion about family and probably how to stay together as a family.
Well, the conversation could go on and on and on, but we have to go. We still have quite a lot to bring for you on the table here on Good Morning Uganda. But I can assure you this conversation is going on after this.
Against
behind the scenes. Good morning. We'll be back.
Run for your life.
Women be responsible.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to...
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today.
I can tell you myself, those guys
don't feel like the Africans.
I've been there. I've had the privilege to travel to those countries. You can't convince them they are part of Africa. That's why I'm not even excited about there. They look at the Chibidangos as another part of. So, I saw Mollen here and Philo.
Just, by the way, I was watching a show somewhere, and Mollen did actually say it that Morocco might come up with a good show against.
She did. That was me and her taking a very big bet.
But I think she was spot on when she
had the facts right.
And Morocco play as a unit. They are really playing well.
And this is why I was questioning the Qatar. Qatar should have gone to those countries.
To do what?
To get players.
No, it's just their first edition of the World Cup. I mean, you cannot be ready until you are ready. So, in the first, their first appearance, they have learned a lot of lessons. Now, in the next edition, they will do better. They will do better.
Ruben, because of time, even away from sports, I'll just get you back to that later on. We had a topic here, and sometimes I love to engage you as well. Quite became a hot one. I don't know if you managed to notice, but one of my colleagues is pressing wounds somewhere. The issue was about single parents. I don't know, what's your say about this thing? It's increasing. You, the Chibidangos, you know how to lie to these girls. You know how to buy them chips and chicken. Once they get pregnant, because
okay,
what's the problem?
The problem is actually, for me, if you ask me what the cause of this is there's what I call due diligence.
Yes,
you know what to be
very well.
Now, women do not do due diligence about the Rubens.
They
look at him,
yes,
tall, navy blue watch, nice looking. Then they're going to be couple. Now, after some months. After some months, they start realizing that maybe. So
at that point, when she's pregnant,
the Philos and the Mollens, they don't do due diligence. They don't do their homework.
So Ruben,
they just go and.
There's actually some lousy men out there.
A lot of them. A lot of them.
No, and they make up the bigger number.
You contribute to that. Because before you commit to somebody, you need to know who is he, where does he come from, did he go to school? Does he have brothers?
Which schools?
Which schools? But for you, when you see a tall man with a good haircut, you the funeral leaders, you run away with them. Now, after a year, you come back saying, "I wish I had a bit. I wish I knew."
Yes.
But you didn't take your time. You're going to be couple mangu. You get, and even when I get you, Philo, before you get pregnant, first way to get pregnant, you don't have to conceive immediately. You don't have to do that.
I like that.
This is the reality we're talking about.
I think we missed that point by the way.
Men and women. But I know where they're selfish.
You need to be cautious. Are we ready to do this? Because me, I don't support abortion as a person. When I got news that somebody had conceived in 2008, I said, okay. Yes, we cannot even discuss abortion.
Yes.
No, what we can discuss is that how can I behave as a parent, as a father. I can't deny I've been with this person.
Just run
but
away.
It takes a brain to understand that. It takes a brain. That's the upbringing, where you come from, schools attended. But these women of today, they look at height. They don't look at
but Ruben, now that's the part of the women. Because and this has been the biggest controversy. We are throwing a lot of weight on the women. What they do, what should you, what should you, what should you do?
Okay.
How about the men?
No, the men.
What's our role in preventing this?
Also ask yourself, am I ready? Am I ready?
Should be intentional about
this. Is where religion comes in.
Yeah.
Or what they mean. Because I don't need to lie to Philomena. If I'm not able to do whatever I think to be a man she expects him to be. So I've got to be honest to myself. Am I ready to be a parent? If I am not, let me not engage in this.
That's key.
Because I will make her a single mom. She will be. For her, she thinks I am into this 100%.
Yes, I'm not.
For me, in my heart, I'm playing around. I'm just playing around to run away. You get. And what you have said about Swahara Felix?
What is playing around? I just don't get.
No, playing around is living in denial. Is being 40 when you behave like a 20-year-old. That's playing around. I mean, if you are 40, you're supposed to settle down. You're supposed to know that Philomena is pregnant. If Philomena was my daughter, how would I feel if somebody ran away from her? Then you stay. You say, okay, let me stay. I will not go away. But men play a bigger part in making ladies single.
That is what I want.
They play a very big part.
We need to acknowledge that.
Can I send you a student to teach?
Depends.
I want to send you Mr. Kirabo. I want to send you Mr. Kirabo, Robert. I can't even echo what he was saying here earlier on. I just want to send him to you. No, you give him the right koja.
No, but there's something Ruben says,
yes,
and I think we had skipped it, about the first thing that you need to do as partners is not pregnancy.
Yes.
No.
That should be almost the last thing. Like honesty
shouldn't be number one.
Now, neither should it be sex, because that's the only reason why people get. I want to Ruben. You go on a date with a woman, but the only thought of the guy, Mwambudeni.
Okay, I want to go into that. That's why I'm talking about due diligence, Felix.
Yes.
When you find a Ruben, who is he? How does he reason? Does he? Who is the father? How was he nurtured? But the problem with these Mollens, they jump with these Nasamukasas. You will be seeing a wolf before you know it, and you will ask yourself, what happened? And she's crying. I'm sorry to use her as an example. Then when you do your due diligence, you find that the firstborn in that family never even went to senior 6. You get? You find that the father is a drunkard somewhere in Namagunga or somewhere in So you start thinking, why did I do this? But because you don't take your time to understand the nature of the man you're dating. Then also, the friends who keep around Felix.
That's
friends the men keep around. They are men who
your peers.
Whose culture is I don't marry. My is to impregnate.
It's what one of our colleagues was saying.
With my boys, actually, Mollen was talking about it.
You're supposed to stand as a man. Know that Philomena is pregnant. It's my responsibility. Now I've become a father. She needs to be under me. That is all. You don't have to run away from that, from your responsibilities.
One thing lastly.
So Kirabo was running away from responsibility.
I am sending him to you.
Uncle Bob.
Yeah, Uncle Bob. Kirabo Robert. Whatever. No, we are going to bring him to you so that you sit, you talk him as a senior in this thing.
Uncle Bob.
But Philo, just let me ask Ruben lastly.
Yes.
Do we think, and this is quite important for us, we brought it up here, about the issue of parenting. What's our role as parents in to reduce this thing of single parents? I believe that when the Chibidangos, it was important for them to know who you're dating, where you spend your time 20, 30 years ago. But today Rachel will come, Daddy, I'm going out. Daddy,
No, because you're modern parents. Some of us are old-fashioned parents. Even when you're going, you ask me for permission. You don't just move out of the house. So you need to go back to the NRA days of security. You remove the roadblocks and use intelligence. Use intelligence to come out rebels or whoever is a criminal. You don't have to have roadblocks on the way to know that Ruben is a rebel. No. Just use your intelligence. Now, if I'm a father of girls, I know first and foremost how you nurture your children matter a lot. Now, if you're going to leave the home, you must notify me. You don't have to move anyhow because it's a modern world, because I'm a teenager. I don't understand that.
I think parents have become very permissive. They just let the children do
what child has rights. Which rights? I am the father and you have rights. Which rights do you have in my home? No, you don't have any right. It's me who is in charge of you.
I'm trying to think about my father letting me walk like that. That man would just finish me. He would kill me.
Don't just go like that, Felix. No.
But I think it's something Ruben, Philo, and my rest of our colleagues, we need to bring it to the attention of parents. I think we need to be able to take this fight for our own selves.
Yes.
This whole thing of single mothers is going to bring a very decayed generation.
But even women should also mind about their discipline, their behavior. The way they reply, they will talk to men. They think, when they come to work, these fellows who are on air, they will think now they are also men in the house. That leads to being a single mother. I am in it. Even if I am a shamba boy, I am your husband. You get?
I gave them an analogy of the Bible. From the Bible, but I also gave them a song here. The song twayimba tuyimbiranga tufunda n'omubi ngazala ngalima ngaliriza n'abage. You'll die with your beauty. Ayo obulungi bukuluma bujja kuluma ofe nabo.
And the bulungi is just for some time.
Die bakuzike nabo, but you don't have a man, you're not married.
I have to deal with this gentleman. I don't know how, but I will find a way. But Kirabo, that's what I am sending him to you.
So you had better be. By the way, Mchempisa Chikura, I think what Ruben was trying to talk about. But the problem is the poor are teaching them manners. I told you the your singers are teaching you wrong things instead of teaching them mannerisms.
But future singers, they are future singers.
But we all need to be serious to all the gentlemen there. Fakul, brother. Godwin, but your mind okubeera serious mu kintu kino, and also the well, it is good morning Uganda, and we are coming close to the end of today's show. It was a really beautiful and very informative show.
But
I picked the lessons.
On Morocco. What's your prediction?
Well, I have Morocco. Morocco, but my heart is over in Portugal.
No, for me it has to be Portugal.
Well, Morocco.
This is the point where Philo, Ruben, Mollen, now experience and pedigree comes to take over.
Not excitement.
Nah, we know Sibia Africa.
Anyway, we shall be here on Monday. We shall be on Monday, and I'm going to sit and watch this match. Yes. I'm also going for Morocco.
Another win for Morocco.
I don't think so.
On Monday, we shall be having that conversation on this same set, and I hope we will be nursing wounds or others.
And we shall see.
It was very, very wonderful to have you with us the whole week, Monday, Tuesday, all the way to Friday. And you, our beautiful viewers, woke up with us as early as 6 a.m. this morning. Well, we can thank you enough, and hopefully we'll be able to see you come Monday. Go be kind towards each other during this weekend, and hopefully we'll see you then. We love you, but we have to leave you. Good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.